What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the No World Order Podcast IG Live. I'm your host, Drew, and we are coming from San Diego, California. And right now, we are just waiting on Zach to pop on in. There he is. And we are going to go live and discuss a few topics. So I am just waiting on that. Let's see if I can pop live with him. Get my notes up. And we are good.
Yeah. That works.
All right.
Your favorite wrestler, Ric Flair.
All right. I think that's good right there. Should be good.
Cool.
All right. So I know we had a few things we wanted to discuss. I kind of wrote out quite a bit dealing with some of the topics. So if you want to kind of I don't know. What do you want to start with? I mean, just maybe kind of get that J-Lo stuff kind of talked about real quick, and then we can kind of get into the more important things of this.
Yeah. But first, I wanted to. I posted that package.
Yeah.
That I got with that dude that wrote my name in such a sick way.
Yeah.
But he's on Instagram as Mark of the Beast, and he takes like well-known logos and flips them and put a little bit of like truth message in there.
Okay.
So like this one at first glance is like Vans.
Yeah.
But if you check it out, yeah.
What does it say there?
It says vaccines are not safe.
Oh, geez, that's funny. Haha, nice. Yeah, that's crazy. It looks straight up like a Vans logo. That's crazy.
Yeah, kind of taking that subconscious factor that's used against us and like putting it back at them. You know?
Yeah, that's
It's sick.
awesome.
There's a big logo on the back too, and I got a little pin from him that looks like what is it? Miller Lite? But I don't know my beers, but the eagle. But it says military industrial complex instead. It's
So probably that Miller, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he does great work. I love it. If you're into it, go check it out.
Nice.
Definitely get an eye on him. Yeah, he has awesome shirts.
Nice.
But yeah, I wanted to shout that out real quick.
Definitely.
But yeah, get into the J-Lo thing.
So
Preface it with saying I have no idea, right?
what's that?
I said I'll preface it with saying I have no idea.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't, like, even explaining it is a little strange. But as last I looked, she had posted a picture on Instagram, still there, last I looked. And if you zoom in, it looks like, well, what do you think it looks like? Because I was told, like I read about it first. When you saw it, what did you see?
So that was the interesting thing. Like when you first posted it, I was like, what is he seeing? Has he really gone off the deep end this time? Like, what the hell? Like, I was trying so hard to see, but I was like, I was not. But it took me, I went back to it like 3 or 4 times within a span of like a half hour. And then I just spent like 5 minutes just trying to see what you were looking at. And then all of a sudden it became clear. I have no idea who it looks like. All I know is I do see a face there that looks like with a mouth like covered or something like that, but I couldn't recognize or make out specifically of who it could be.
Yeah, it for sure looks like, I want to say a bald male, kind of Joe Rogan, right? Looks like a bald male with something covering his mouth, and he looks scared.
Yeah.
Right? Is that a safe to say his expression looks scared? But it's really only from like chin up. Like you can't see any of the body or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's weird. It's like in the mirror, right? Is that kind of, so it'd be in the background. So yeah, that it was really strange because I didn't see it at first, and then I saw your post and finally became clear, and then I went to the actual photo and zoomed in as much as I could, and yeah, there it was. It wasn't like a Photoshop thing, because I went to the legit source, and there it still was and is still posted. So yeah, it's really strange. And then I know when you were here just the other day when we were talking about some things, you did that little experiment with the comments, and your comments were deleted.
That's right, because I had tried it from mine,
Yeah.
and like when I initially tried a few days ago, like it went up. Okay, cool. I went back in and it was gone. And then this time I did it from our podcast Instagram, I think.
Yeah.
And as soon as I posted something, it disappeared. Like it didn't even register as a new comment.
Right away. Yeah.
And I noticed that the most recent comment had been the same one that I had seen from a few days prior.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume that from those few days on, like no new comments were getting posted. But it doesn't even have the thing where it says like comments have been disabled.
Yeah.
It's there as an option, but it was not letting you comment on it. And of course, all the comments that are there are completely oblivious. I'm pretty sure all the ones that point out the fucking face are gone. And I've seen people take screenshots of them posting, and it's gone.
See, that's what's interesting, because initially when you posted it, I was like, oh, there has to be comments about it. And then I scrolled through, like, not all the way, because there was like 28,000 comments. So I scrolled for like a good minute and there was nothing about it. So I was a little confused at that, because I was like, typically there would be some sort of, oh, what's that? Those troll accounts or whatever that go and point out all that stuff. And there was none of that. And then to notice when we were together that, yeah, it just straight up got deleted immediately.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of black magic social media shit that is, but
yeah,
I do know, I don't know a whole lot about J-Lo other than obviously she got famous playing Selena, who was a very young star who was killed very young, which in itself is like textbook occult. But I know this year she played the Super Bowl, right, along with Shakira.
Yes.
Where it looked like she had a Baphomet face on her wardrobe.
Definitely.
And that whole halftime ceremony was very ritualistic looking, very occulty looking. I think at one point they had kids in cages, or like kind of looked like kids in cages.
And not to mention just the sexualization of it.
Yeah.
In this climate, in this time of the Me Too movement and all of that going on, you're gonna do that? Like, yeah, it just kind of goes against that whole thing. And again, it just causes more confusion, which it just seems like that's their whole gameplay. The higher ups, it just seems like they want confusion, honestly.
Yeah, they do. Confusion and like non-linear freaking warfare. But yeah, that whole halftime show is very ritualistic. I was actually listening to like an ex-witch wizard guy break it down and talk about all the different things they do there that are meant to get into your subconscious to manipulate you.
Yeah.
Things being communicated, whatever. And I know that I've heard, I guess I don't know her, but I've heard that J-Lo is like really open about practicing Santeria. So that's a big red flag for me too, because that shit's all, I mean, it's like a mix of Catholicism and voodoo.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about it. I know I've heard about it, but I don't know much about it at all.
Yeah, they'll do like actually on Tinfoil Hat, Xavier Guerrero was talking about his friend had some experience with it. Like his friend had been out driving late at night, got into a car accident, saw some people pull up in a pickup. They wouldn't help him. Later on, he found out like there weren't any people there, and I guess like negative shit was happening to him. And then one of his friends told him to go to some guy who knew this shit, and the Mr. Santeria guy was like, oh yeah, like there's some shit on you. Somebody like basically cursed you. Like somebody assigned you some darkness and it's following you. That's why you got into that accident. That's why you're seeing things that aren't there. And he had him do some, I think they do this shit where they like throw stones and read stones, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, to get this demon off of you, slit this chicken's throat and say this and do, it's all that kind of shit. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I'll argue or I'll kind of analyze back and forth if I think something is dark, like satanic or not, like, like throwing stones, okay, let's start there, whatever. But when it comes to sacrificing animals, like, I'm out regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I know they did it in Old Testament, and like, I'm not agreeing with it, but I'm kind of a Bible person.
But again, I mean, even alluding to that, dude, that came after sin. So initially, there was no murder, there was no killing of animals, there was none of that until sin was introduced. Because I mean, just last year I started listening to the audiobook Bible. I kind of stopped when I stopped working for that one window cleaning company just due to lack of time. But it was interesting because I was like, oh my gosh, in the beginning it was like all perfect and like the life that I would like to live, you know what I mean? Like that, those type of morals and everything like that. But then just to see all of a sudden, like 2 chapters later, it's just they're sacrificing things and, doing all these tests and all this kind of almost human sacrifices, you know what I mean? And then all this destruction and killing and war. And so it started out as good, but then once sin or whatever was introduced, if we're going along with that, that's kind of where that happened. But I'm definitely against the sacrificing of animals in any sort of way.
Right, me too. So that's for sure a mark of no for me.
Yeah.
And then just going back where like I know they use like Catholic names of like saints and patrons.
Mm-hmm.
But they used it to hide like the more occulty stuff that they were doing. They used religious names instead of, whatever pagan names to hide it. So
that makes sense.
It's a weird blend and it trips me out. And I wanted to make a graphic for this one having to do with some Santeria shit. And I just Googled it in images and I was like, nah, I don't want my name on that. Like, it was too weird. Do something. We'll go like 50s horror again or something.
Yeah.
It tripped me out, and I was like, I don't want to look into that right now.
Yeah.
Open that door, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of that. I mean, I don't really know what's going on with that, but it's definitely something to point out to people, go check it out yourself. I mean, it's still there on the Instagram as far as yesterday I last checked. So, definitely. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is, but there definitely is someone in the background. And, the comments are being deleted. So that kind of should say something. And it hasn't been addressed. So I don't know.
Yeah. Like what? Like if I knew somebody or a coworker. I have a coworker. I follow them on Instagram. And they post a picture and it looks like somebody's being held captive at their house.
Yeah.
I don't just not do anything, right?
Yeah, you'd come out, hey, that's me, I was helping her work out, blah blah. Yeah, you would come out, say something.
Like, do we like call the cops for where she lives and say like, hey, she posted a picture of somebody bound?
Yeah.
Scared.
Yeah.
Like at what point is like
when is the evidence enough? Yeah.
Yeah, is she just like taunting us?
Yeah.
Like for sure. Okay, I just want to rule out it's not my imagination because other people are seeing it.
Yeah, at first I thought it was, and then I saw it, man, and I was like, oh my god, what is that? Who is that? Like, what is going on with this? So
it's a trip, and I'm at a loss, but it's super weird. And now I'm considering finding out where she lives and calling the cops. Like, hey, dude, she posted a picture of somebody captive.
Look into this. Check this out. Yeah.
Super weird.
Yeah. So I know you wanted to talk about the CDC guidelines for schools reopening and touch on that kind of stuff. So I wrote out all of there's like 5 kind of guidelines of what needs to happen. If you want to run through them or you want to just
let's do it. And I'll see, because I have working school experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And, kind of talk about the impracticalities or not.
Yeah.
It's totally feasible.
Yeah, so the first thing it says, schools must adhere to all state and local health orders. So that's a little ridiculous because, I mean, it seems like it's ever changing.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make much sense. Number 2, schools must protect employees and students that are high risk, such as students with severe asthma, obesity, diabetes, liver disease, etc. Shouldn't they have already been doing that?
Right.
Is this new criteria or?
It's not new. Like,
Yeah.
Especially working with kids, the younger kids or kids with like disabilities and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like you're constantly washing hands, you're constantly
Yeah.
sanitizing because they just got snot flowing everywhere all the time.
Exactly.
Like that's nothing new.
And I feel like there's posters of hand washing posters in schools and in classrooms even. So I could be wrong. I haven't been in school in a really long time, but as far as I know, those are there. So, I don't understand how that's really anything new, but it is highlighted. So
for sure there are posters everywhere. Everyone's always instructing or reminding kids to do it. And even like when they grab lunch, the lunch ladies are like super aware of kids putting their hands on food.
yeah.
Like they're on it, they're watching them, and if a kid like grabs something and puts it back, they'll remove the whole tray.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? Like they're on top of it like way before this even.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of difference there.
Yeah. So then, number 3, schools must be able to screen students, employees, etc. when they arrive on campus for symptoms or possible exposure.
And I think it's stupid. We've already established that the incubation period can be longer than 14 days. So while checking everybody every morning could not do anything.
Yeah.
Some people don't even know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that it doesn't serve a lot of good, and there's no practicality behind that. There's maybe 800 kids at an elementary school plus 100 staff. Well, how long would it take for each person to go through and do that?
Every morning, every day, and then and the resources to do that?
Yeah. There's no room in the schools to do it. And
Yeah.
so they say a kid gets there, waits 20 minutes to get his temperature taken. Dad had to leave, and they're like, "Oh, little Timmy, you have a fever. You have to go home."
Gotta get called back.
Where are you gonna put the kid that's showing symptoms or has a fever?
Yeah, and then they're gonna be in the nurse's office and contaminating the nurse, or what do you do in that situation? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
It does not.
Yeah. So number 4 was, once a school meets those requirements, schools must adhere to strict hygiene and sanitation practices. This includes hand washing, intensified cleaning and ventilation. Employees, this is a good one, must wear a face covering, so they must wear a mask. Social distancing will also be the new normal for schools. This includes more spacing between students and smaller groups of people.
Not gonna happen.
How can that happen?
Not to sound like a pessimistic, but working in the school, there's no way.
There's no room, right?
There's no room. There's 20
Yeah.
to 30 kids. At least I'm going off of in my mind, like the younger kids, kinder, first grade, whatever.
Yeah.
20, 30 kids crammed into a classroom already.
Exactly.
You're not gonna put 6 feet between them, and you're not gonna you can't separate them physically enough, and you can't separate them like AM, and people are saying that AM PM like they stop way too many kids to get through.
Yeah.
And just like for the kids, I'm real big on SPED. I'm real big on the kids with special needs. It's like that's my crew.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be close to these guys.
Yeah. That creates physical contact and that type of situation.
Yeah. Exactly. We're still learning what not to eat in some cases. We're still learning what can hurt us in a lot of cases. We're still learning how to go to the bathroom in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So there's 0% chance to be 6 feet away from. And honestly, like the kids are so cool, especially at that age. They're gonna rush you for a hug anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Try turning an adorable little friggin' 5-year-old away from a hug. You're a
Yeah.
monster, you know?
Yeah.
Impractical.
Yeah, and wearing a mask. I thought that was kind of the big takeaway from that little sentence and order.
I feel like we've established, at least here on this show, like, you can't make everybody wear a mask. Some people, it's not healthy for them. And honestly, it's not healthy for anybody.
Yeah. For long periods of time, yeah.
Cool. But in general, it cuts down your oxygen. I was reading an article about how Olympians will train with masks on because it decreases your oxygen. You know, because they're like that level of, and it's an Olympian doing that. What does that tell you about how hard it is to breathe with that on?
Yeah.
You know, it's someone who dedicates their whole life basically to physical fitness. We are not that. Normal people are not capable of doing that, not safe, and I think it's an infringement on people's individual rights to mandate that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the last thing, number 5, was schools must sustain these new practices and continuously monitor the health of everyone on campus. Again, like we were just talking about, how is that going to be feasible?
It's honestly not.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot of people making suggestions, like a lot of parents and outside of the school people making suggestions and understanding how a school works from the inside. Like, none of them are really practical. The only thing I can kind of think of that might work a little, aside from just fully opening, which I'm all for, is giving people the option to send their kids to school like a normal schedule all day, or they can stay at home and do work online.
Yeah.
You know, because like everybody is all over the board. I mean, I was reading comments about people wanting to open up, not wanting to open up, wanting to open up with like super duper strict hygiene stuff. People who were just like, as long as they don't mandate a vaccine, like it's the vaccine thing is out there. People are not happy. It's all over the board. And nobody has like a great solution because this is so unprecedented, never been done before. And you can't work around these rules, man. Like, the regular or the suggested CDC regulations, you can't teach with that in class.
Yeah.
It's insane. I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and then from what I heard that right now schools won't even be able to open even if they meet these guidelines, just due to funding purposes. So there's that as well.
Because San Diego, they're like the trendsetter in the county. Like if San Diego does something first, like they were the first ones to close down on March 13th, right? And then everybody else kind of follows.
Yeah.
So they recently, I believe they hit up the governor and they're like, hey, if you want us to do all these things when we reopen, we need a lot more money. So I don't know if they're trying to call his bluff to where Newsom's just like, okay, fine, open up and like be lax on the standards, or if they are like fine with taking more money and implementing all these standards.
So
people are dividers between students.
So this is kind of perfect. This actually leads me into my next subject that I kind of wanted to touch on. It's something that I touched on my podcast maybe a couple episodes back, but this Jim Desmond guy, he's a San Diego County supervisor, and he was the mayor of San Marcos from 2006 to 2014, and he made a statement saying about a week ago saying he looked into the numbers and the data here in San Diego, and only 6 out of 194 deaths at the time were pure coronavirus related, and the rest were underlying conditions. And yeah, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that, but then I also wanted to touch on another thing with him as well.
I briefly saw that in my feed, and it doesn't surprised me. I haven't gone into like what he actually was looking for or what he based that.
So he's just really going against Newsom, man. He's been, as far as I understand, he's challenging him. He's trying to call him out on certain things, trying to, really look into the data to be like, let's open up. I watched an interview because he did this interview with these small businesses in Valley Center, and my mom got interviewed with him on this Zoom meeting, and then he did this interview with the local paper there, and we were watching it, and he just basically wants places to open up. Yes, he's saying safely, but not infringing on our rights, so he seems like he's doing it in a very positive way, but he kept on throwing that 3.3 million people, and everywhere I look, that doesn't match with San Diego's population at all. So I don't understand why he keeps throwing that out there.
That's interesting. I thought
Yeah.
we were at 2.85, or what did you see San Diego population?
There was like 2 or 3 different variations. One was, I think, that, and then one was like higher. So it wasn't that 3.3 though, so I know that.
I wonder, God, I wish I knew what that meant, man. Like, is he a Mason that's trying to fight? Is that really the number he thinks? Not like, interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting, because just the fact that he, was saying let's open up, and and actually challenging Newsom on these things, but then saying that 3.3, I had to look it up, and none of the population said anywhere near that 3.3 number, so I was just a little confused about that for sure.
So interesting. I wonder if it's just like different gangs, like the reptilians are trying to take over, the occultist pedophiles are trying to take over, and then the Masons are their own gang. So
Yeah.
Like, depending on the subject, like they take different stances and fight each other.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they work together. Like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, it's interesting. But I did want to bring up another thing involving him, because he is the San Diego County Supervisor. He did just approve, what was it, 359 million for San Diego, split up between response and recovery, testing and treatment. 50 million for 17 cities, split up between restaurants, small businesses, behavioral health, and child welfare services. So there is going to be some money and funding coming in. I just kind of wanted your thoughts on that as well.
It could be good, it could be bad.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, at least with my opinions, it could annoy me, or it could be something kind of cool.
Exactly.
I'd love to see how much it's going to wear. And
It was all broken down. I didn't have it all break down in my notes, but when I was looking it up, it did have it all broken down for that 359 million. It did have it allocated to all those different sectors.
Is that for them to like buy masks and gloves and shit, or
For the response and recovery, I'm assuming that type of stuff, or just hospital stuff. And then I don't like the testing and treatment, because that just means they're gonna start implementing more and more testing, or mandatory testing. So I didn't like that. That's kind of why I wanted to point that one out. Because I have mixed feelings on it as well, because the funding should be going to certain things that need it, but again, I don't like how we can just print up money and it's just like make believe, man. It's not real. And like, how is anybody struggling ever if we can just print up money and take care of anybody, the whole country at any given time? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I think in Monopoly, there's a rule that says the bank can never be bankrupt, and if you run out of the bills, just write a number on a piece of paper and use that as if it were money. And I'm pretty sure that's all the Federal Reserve is doing. They're just making Monopoly money.
Is that what it says on the game?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Dude, I swear. And I'm like, Monopoly was leaking truth back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
It's about the dangers of of a monopoly.
Yeah.
In our
Well,
society.
also, yeah, that or how to navigate through business. Depends how you look at it, you know?
Yeah, I think monopoly is a side effect and like a danger of business, but I'm not anti-business. Um, I don't. That being said, I don't like when a lot of money gets just thrown out. Period. Like,
Exactly.
where's it coming from? Is it taxpayer money? Is it from some sort of state budget? Was it originally allocated for something else, and we're using it as emergency funds instead? Like, I'm sketch on money getting thrown around because that's how money disappears.
Exactly.
Like, spent what 500? Was it 500K? 500? I think it was 500,000 on masks from China that are like reputable for, or not, they're irreputable, and they're supposed to be like terrible masks when there was some like company down the road in California that makes better masks at a lower price. So like that kind of shadiness, I feel like shadiness with each time the money changes hands.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe he's got dealings with someone shady, maybe he's not, and I'm just freaking out and this will be a good thing, but I'm sketch on it in general.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime, you know, even like I mentioned on my podcast just the other day, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm benefiting from the stimulus money. Do I agree with it? No. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like one of those things. Yeah, I'm gonna use it since it's been given to me. Do I, you know, but I don't agree with how they're going about it, you know?
Yeah. And the fact that you like it wasn't a vote or anything.
Exactly.
Even if it does benefit most people, the fact that it's not a vote, we're not included in it at all.
Yeah.
Like that to me, that doesn't seem okay or right.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Well, I mean, I guess what do I know?
Yeah. So I know there was another topic we wanted to get into, the modern day lynching thing. I wrote out a full timeline for that starting from February 11th, so we can kind of go through that. But did you look into the case a little bit more? Or?
I did some of. I watched the video,
Uh-huh.
and I found out that there's like an edited version that was circulating,
Okay.
and then apparently there's like a little bit of, or there's like an unedited version.
Okay.
So the fact that there's two different types of this video floating around is another red flag for me.
Uh-huh.
Because either I feel like that lends itself to either being created, like manufactured, like not 100% legitimate, and or somebody just edited it to make it seem more biased.
Yeah.
To incite some more racial warfare.
Yeah.
What happened on the 11th? How did it start out?
So February 11th, Travis McMichael, I believe that's the son, right?
I think so.
Okay, so I believe that's the son. He calls 911 to report someone run into a home that was under construction. It was unclear if it was the Ahmaud Arbery. And then on February 23rd, that's when Arbery was shot and killed after being confronted by Gregory and Travis McMichael. They told police they followed him because they thought he was a burglary suspect. The district attorney from Waycross Judicial Circuit, George Barnhill, said he sees no grounds for arrest, stating that they were in hot pursuit. And then so then on February 27th, the AD for Brunswick Judicial Circuit, Jackie L. Johnson, recuses herself from the case, stating Gregory McMichael is a former investigator with her office. In early April, George Barnhill decided to step away from the case and asked another district attorney to be appointed. So that's kind of why there was some initial hesitation, I think, going on with the case.
Like, not that there was collusion, but like there could have been.
Exactly.
I think there was collusion, so they just immediately were like, let's just hand it off to someone else.
Exactly. And then on the 27th, No, that was the 27th. My bad. No. Was that? Okay. April 13th. Sorry. The district attorney for the Atlantic Judicial Circuit, Tom Durden, is then appointed to the case. And then on May 5th, that's when we are seen or given the video. And that's when the outrage came from online and all over the country.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of outrage because it was first introduced to me, or I first saw it from Sean King, who I don't know from Adam, but he was the one that I saw kind of said, "This is a modern day lynching."
yeah.
Like everyone should be infuriated by it, basically.
Yeah. And then on that same day, the Glenn County Police Department asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigations to look into the release of the video and not the actions of the video.
What?
How weird is that?
So someone was pissed that it was
Leaked.
for people to watch?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, right?
It sure does.
Yeah. So that is definitely a little strange.
That's another red flag, right?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah. And then the same evening that Tom Durden guy asked the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, to open an investigation. So all on that same day where they were like, the video was shown, they were asked to look into the actions of who released the video, but then they open a legit investigation as well. So really strange set of events happening there.
Right. Huh.
And then on the 8th, so a few days later, there was a press conference stating that there is sufficient probable cause for felony murder charges and also a possibility of charging the person who recorded the video. And on this same day, both Gregory and Travis make their first appearance in court.
So that was one of my initial questions: is who the hell's recording? Did you come across a name?
No, still no name. I think they're still keeping that secret for whatever reason. Because, yeah, I haven't heard anything about the name of who recorded it.
Okay, that's another question mark for me then. That's
Yeah.
another red flag.
Yeah.
Because even when we can go, I think we can go into like how it was filmed, but it looks shitty. It's a shitty film job.
Yeah.
Like almost like they were trying to show certain things and not others. But continue with the timeline.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to run through this timeline so we can kind of talk about certain things and see if things line up or don't line up or the red flags. But yeah, so then May 9th, then the first video was obtained by 11 Alive, which is a sister station in Jacksonville, Florida, which is showing Ahmaud Arbery entering a home which was under construction, walking around and leaving, and he was identified by a prosecutor. So that's why that's the first video I saw, and or not the first video I saw, but the first video I saw that pointed to him not just being this jogger and just running in the neighborhood or whatever, you know, because there's video evidence of him entering this house. And that's why me and my brother got into this big argument and all of this stuff, because I was seen and presented with these facts and he was just disregarding it, you know what I mean? But so that was kind of where that stemmed from on May 9th.
What does he think? That if just these two racist guys shot this black guy for fun?
Basically, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna speak for him, obviously, but that I think is more along the narrative that he aligns with.
And I'm sure that shit happens, unfortunately. I'm sure it still does, but this one specifically, it reaches that coincidence barrier for me where there's too many question marks and it doesn't necessarily line up.
So here's the thing. I think that, racism is around, and people do kill people for that reason, but I don't think it's as prevalent as people think or want to make it out to be. Yes, I'm sure it still happens, but I don't think it's as glamorized as they try and make it seem.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I could be ignorant with that. But there's just a couple more things that I kind of wanted to point out and go over. So on the 11th, Cobb County District Attorney Joyette Holmes is assigned the case, replacing Durden, and that being the 4th District Attorney being assigned to the case. And that's all that was presented on all of the timelines I was looking up. That's kind of where it stopped for now, but there were some additional facts I kind of wanted to touch on. So in 2013, Ahmaud Arbery was indicted for bringing an illegal gun to school, which brought the whole campus on lockdown, and he was charged with carrying a weapon without a license and 3 counts of obstructing an officer.
How old was he?
I don't know how old he was at the time. I don't. It didn't state the age.
And wasn't there a report of like somebody's gun getting stolen out of their truck?
Yes. That happened like 6 or 7 weeks prior to even February, I want to say. So maybe late last year or early this year. And yes, it was I want to say George McMichael's truck who had the gun stolen from him.
So this dude, when he was in high school, brought a gun to school with no paperwork to back it up or anything, obviously.
Yeah.
Did they say anything about intent, or it was just like I mean, it's Georgia, so maybe they just carry guns down there. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I'm not, presuming anything, but it is facts that this happened. He was charged and indicted, you know what I mean? So, and there was another thing, I think, what does it say? 2018, he was convicted of shoplifting, which broke his probation. So, he just isn't this innocent guy going for a jog 10 miles away from his home, going into this house under construction on multiple occasions. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what it is, but the narrative, that's the narrative they try and are presenting.
Interesting. How many times was he caught in that house, too? Because it was more than one, was it not?
I want to say 3 to 4 times there's video, yeah.
And the one that I saw of him in the house under construction, the security video footage, he was just kind of standing there.
Yeah, they say he just kind of walked in, walked around, and then just kind of left. So who knows? I'm not saying like he should have been killed for it, like nothing like that. But I'm just pointing. These are the facts. You know what I mean?
It's super suspect that he was walking around that under construction house multiple different times with no evident purpose.
Yeah.
If he was walking in there and like smoking a cigarette and leaving, okay, he's trying to hide his cigarette habit from somebody at home, or, like whatever.
10 miles away from home?
What's that?
10 miles away from home?
See, like what?
So the newest narrative they're trying to push is he was going into that house for water. That's the biggest thing that I've been seeing now. Oh, he was going in for water. He was going in for. How do we know that? Like, you don't see that in the video? How are we to assume anything? I'm not assuming anything. I'm just saying there's facts that he was at this house multiple times.
Yeah, where was he getting water from? It was under construction, but did they have like a fridge hooked up with some chilled water?
So the last video, it was basically a finished house.
Weird.
Yeah. So it was like, just getting finished up. What was that?
You still can't go into somebody's house that isn't yours for water, even if you're jogging, even if you're thirsty? What kind of a defense or explanation is that?
Yeah, makes no sense.
I would love to know why he was going in there. Even if it was just like he was thinking about redoing his house and he liked the way it looked.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I would love to know. I'm so curious. Multiple times.
Yeah.
And I read that owners didn't know about it until he was dead and everyone started to like talk about it.
The owners of the house?
Yeah.
So from what I heard, that they were made aware that there was somebody at their house prior, like on other occasions, because people have seen it happen before, and he didn't want anybody there. That's from what I've heard. I don't know. I could be wrong. Again, that's that confusion, misinformation out there. Who knows what to believe? I don't know. I'm just saying what I saw and read, but who knows?
I'm pretty sure from what I read, it was like the owner didn't know that this dude was coming there doing this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. He didn't know that Ahmaud Arbery was coming to his house.
And he didn't even, how do you think he didn't know, so he didn't call the cops on him. And he like spoke out like it was, tragic that he was dead, of course.
Yeah.
But who was watching him that knew he was doing this stuff if the owner of the property was not the one watching him do this stuff?
From what it sounds like is just neighborhood people seeing someone run into the house that's under construction. Just neighbors looking out for neighbors from what it sounds like. But yeah, who knows? Who knows what the people's intent was, but it sounds like he was there on multiple occasions. There had been burglaries in the past from the McMichael's truck, and so all these things kind of line up, and yeah, who knows? And we'll never know the truth because it is unfortunate that he got shot and killed. But and that's the other thing with the video. Did you see that he's the one running towards them and then like throws a punch, and then there's the struggle and all of that?
So I saw he is running down the street and the truck is kind of to the right side of the street.
Yeah.
Not in motion. And he goes from the back of the truck, he goes to the right of the truck, goes around the side, comes in front of the truck.
Yeah.
And one of the McMichaels is already out of the driver's side, and the other McMichael is in the bed of the truck with looks like a little revolver. I believe it's a Smith & Wesson. But Ahmaud comes through in front of the truck, goes to the other side, meets up with McMichael, and there's a gunshot when they're both out of screen, but I believe that comes from the guy in the bed. And then there's the struggle, like the struggle starts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another gunshot, I believe, when they're both off screen to the left. Like they start to struggle and kind of go out over here.
Yeah.
But again, I think that was also from the guy in the back of the truck. Because
Interesting.
Michael, the dad, I think it was the dad, had a shotgun.
Yeah.
And if you get shot with a shotgun,
You get splattered.
Point blank range, that game over, dude. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that could blow a whole leg off. It would definitely put you on the ground. But then Ahmaud struggled with the guy. Actually, he was beating the shit out of him because, like, when they come back into camera, he's punching the guy in the head. Like, I think he's trying to get the gun, but he's for sure wailing on him. And then I think that's when there's a second gunshot. And then they kind of disperse, and he kind of runs away and then falls down.
Yeah.
Which, when I first saw it, that was what didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So if he did get shot, there's no way it was with that shotgun. No
Yeah.
way. If the guy in the bed got off a few rounds with his revolver and shot him, okay, maybe. But again, I'm pretty sure when you hear the gunshot, that was the other thing I had read. This dude, RFD Chosen One, it's actually really cool because he's like a very unapologetic black male.
Mm-hmm.
And so to listen to him talk about how he has questions about the story and he's questioning the narrative,
Yeah.
I feel like a cool equalizer.
Definitely.
He's black, and he can, like, he's grown up being black. He's lived in this climate, so he's aware of all the racism. You know what I mean? But what the hell else?
So that's it. That's interesting because I didn't even go back and watch the video, but so if you think it's coming from a different weapon, do you think they're just suppressing that information? Just so you know, we got about 10 minutes.
Okay. I'm questioning the validity of the footage. Period.
Okay.
Because allegedly on one of the edits, I saw like allegedly the unedited version, but the dude I was listening to that kind of did a breakdown of some of it, he said on the edited version, the gunshot is in a different place. Like the audio was manipulated.
Ah.
You know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, great. Now we have two different versions of a reality stemming from this one video.
Interesting.
Because people are already going to be arguing over when the gunshot went off or not if they don't know that there's two videos.
Yeah.
He was saying he believes it was like basically a false flag. Like, yes, this fellow died, but either the McMichaels were coerced into doing it for a bigger purpose, or it was just some sort of thing to incite racial hatred again.
Yeah.
By the machine.
Yeah.
Video sketch to me. The facts leading up to it are sketchy to me. I would love to know more about Ahmed's personality.
Mm-hmm.
He seems very curious, and I'd love to know what he was doing in the house. But if I was forced to be like, is it real or is there more to it? There's for sure more to it.
Yeah.
And I think it is being manipulated to turn people against each other.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. It already kind of started here at home, so.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tough because you have to sit people down and separate, like, I know there's racism. No, I don't agree with it.
Exactly.
I wish he wasn't dead. You know?
Yeah.
But people know this and they use it to manipulate your feelings to get you to think a certain way.
Yeah.
Especially with guns in America, you know?
Yeah. So just we got just about 8 minutes left or so. Just you know more about this guy than I do, so I just wanted to let you kind of introduce this guy, the WWE guy.
Yeah, Shad Gaspard.
Yeah.
This one actually is a real bummer. I mean, you know, all death is, but I watched and you probably remember Crime Time back in the day. I want to say like 2006, 2007.
So that was I remember them, but that was around the time I wasn't watching consistently. So again, I don't really know who he was, like, really. But I did read the story, and then I was listening to a podcast this morning, The Fighter and the Kid, Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen, two comedians, and they both knew him decently, and just said he was nothing but a great guy and all of that, and seems like, you know, he was a really good father. I mean, his last words were basically, save my son, you know what I mean? And that just kind of tugs at your heart, whether you're a parent or not, you know? Just reading that story, I was definitely getting a little emotional for sure. Not even, like, really knowing who he was, but knowing Crime Time, that name, that tag team and everything, but not knowing him as a person, you know what I mean?
Great tag team, great gimmick. I follow him on Instagram, and he posts pretty frequently, and stuff of substance. Like, he's not just out there trying to hawk signatures, but he was always posting about his kid and his wife. Like, he's super big family guy, really big into, like, maintaining that family unit, which is a lost art now, especially among men, I feel like. But he was really into that.
Ooh.
He was doing some acting and stuff. I saw a video when Kofi won the title.
Oh no. Are you there?
For robbery. At some point. Are you freezing up?
Yeah, I was freezing up for a second, but you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Anyway, at one point he had stopped an armed robbery at like a convenience store. Like he's
Oh, wow.
so big and he's so buff. Yeah, he's a badass, dude. Like he can do that shit, but he's also like really, really nice and nurturing with this kid. You know, like I think he's like a great example of an adult male. You know, he sets that standard fucking high. And like you were saying, and he posts videos of them at the beach often. You know, like they do the beach as a family all the time, which I feel like makes it even worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got pulled into a riptide, and I guess I want to say I read a handful of people were caught. The lifeguards hit the area and were trying to get people back, and he told his kid to push off of him to push toward the lifeguards. Told the lifeguards to save the kid first. And the one account I read of the guy, I believe, who was like getting the kid, he said like he grabbed the kid, and when he turned around, like Shad was gone. You know, like it's not like it's not like he didn't have time, or well, I mean, I guess he didn't have time, but it's not like it was like he could have done it. Like that guy couldn't have done anything more.
Yeah.
You know, and there was nothing else Shad could do except decide to save his kid over him, which, good Lord, that is just a testament, I think, and a great example of who he is, period. You know, and right away, all the wrestlers, they're like their own little club. They started posting about it and talking about it, and I follow Chris Masters, and he was like, he just went and was walking the beach, just walking up and down, just keeping his eyes open. You know, I know they have a T-shirt out, I think through Collar and Elbow Tie Up, and proceeds I'm sure are going to go to the family. But super duper tragic from a super cool guy, great family guy, and like I know that kid is going to have a wrestling family. Like I know all of that dude's friends are not going to let the kid grow up without help and guidance.
Yeah.
But super big loss for that family, super big loss for wrestling fans in general. And
yeah, I mean, I did wanna note that his body was found on Wednesday, which was, you know, a good thing because at least it does bring closure, and it wasn't, you know, eaten by a shark or anything like that, and you know, it was washed up. And so they are at least able to have that closure instead of wondering, oh, is he still out there, and keeping that, you know, that hope and search alive. You know, it's unfortunate that it had to end like it did, but you know, at least there was the body, you know.
I see. I didn't even know that. That's what I was that's what I was waiting for. I
okay.
Like, different sources and different posts to see
what
else was going on.
Yeah, washed up like right on like Venice Pier, I think, like right in that general area. Yeah.
Good gracious. What a bummer.
Yeah.
I hope their families, you know, getting through it, man.
Yeah. I mean, I just to touch it up on a lighter note for this last minute. Did you see that post I tagged you in the other week ago or something with Tom Segura going at the WWE wrestlers?
I didn't hear it.
Oh.
I heard Sam Roberts say that he was going after wrestling fans and then made fun of flat earthers.
Oh man, it was great. It was so great. He just like basically went full heel on wrestling fans, and I was watching his podcast just now, and in the opening he did this separate little video of him doing this promo, this full-on WWE style promo, just hating on wrestlers and wrestling fans, and in a wrestling gimmick. It was hilarious. It was too funny. I mean, I am okay enough with it to make fun of it and have people make fun of it, and also see what he's doing. He's he's a comic, man. He's a comedian. Plus, it's wrestling, and he's going heel. It's like, just put it all together, man. Don't take it so serious. Like, so many wrestlers and other people, fans, got so outraged, and I'm a fan of both, and I'm just here cracking up, man. It is funny.
Yeah, I think Sam Roberts took a shot at him too.
And I'm sure it was just in fun.
Yeah. He's getting shit from other people, and he's like, if you guys guys don't understand that this is because if you don't understand the work,
Yeah.
you're never gonna understand wrestling.
Exactly.
Or humor, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
The same thing.
It's good.
But damn.
Yeah.
It was great.
So let's wrap it up. Less than a minute. Make sure you guys tune into the YouTube channel, Real Word 420. We got the Real Word podcast, No World Order podcast that we gotta get focused on, and then also the IG Live will be up there. We got Tuesday Morning Tokes and also Drew and Chase side by side. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Any last words?
Like and subscribe, man. Share my graphics. I worked hard on them.
Oh yeah, killing it. I love the graphics.
Clothing. Yeah, that's it. Good talk.